Hey guys, welcome back to ARTV. My name is John, and it's time for a double feature review. LP3, the third self-titled record by the emo band American Football, is up, in addition to the fourth studio album Panorama by the post-hardcore band La Dispute. We'll talk about American Football first and La Dispute second. If you want to see timestamps for that, they are in the description down below or else in a pinned comment. Thank you for coming by and checking out this video. Please drop a like on it if you want to continue to see indie reviews like this, supporting independent artists and bands that maybe aren't as well known but also deserve a lot of attention. Please subscribe to the channel if you're new, and let's kick it off with the American Football review. American Football are a name that you've probably heard, maybe outside of the realm of sports, hopefully. You probably know them as one of the most popular and beloved emo bands. Maybe you saw that album cover of The House floating around on Tumblr. Well, for 17 years, they only had the one album, but finally they returned with LP2 in 2016. I can't say that I thought it was as great, and even Mike Kinsella himself, the lead vocalist of American Football, kinda admitted that it was done for the fans, which I'm not blaming them at all. I don't think it was a bad record. It just, in places, kind of felt like it was starting to rehash itself, and LP3, I'm so glad, is a cleansing of sound. And honestly, something I noticed, the first two records, they've got that picture of the house, and at the first one, you see the outside, then you're looking out the window almost, the front door is right there. And on LP3, we see a sunset, and it seems as though they've ventured out of the house, which they're now in their 40s, and they're chasing a different dream than they were before. Happiness isn't exactly something that comes naturally to them, and here it's nice to see those feelings channeled into a sound that is much more possessive of the atmosphere and the ambience surrounding it. There's only 8 tracks on this LP, but they definitely make great use of time. In fact, this is the longest record that they've put out to date, but it really doesn't feel that long outside of a few moments that maybe could have been trimmed down. There's a few wandering soul moments where you just kind of maybe losing track of what's going on, but for the most part, I like that they tried new things. There's songs like I Can't Feel You, featuring Rachel Goswell, the first of 3 female vocal guests, in addition to a children's choir that comes on a track. I feel that I Can't Feel You is such a standout moment for me because there's a different vocal approach, there's different changes in mood, the guitars change up a bit, and the structuring in general musically brings a lot of stuff to the table. Now, as I kind of alluded to already, there are a few vocal spots on this record, those being of the female variety, and I do like that that kind of balances out Mike. It brings a different perspective, and several of these tracks feel like a conversation, the one that I just mentioned. Also, Uncomfortably Numb featuring Hayley Williams, which is definitely going down as one of the best songs of the year. This is definitely up the emo alley, but also just something that just feels so hopeless in a very different way. There's a conversation here that feels devastating. I Can't Feel You already brought that to the table, and it seems like we're kind of witnessing a relationship falling apart throughout much of this record. And on Uncomfortably Numb, I can't feel anything is kind of the phrase that's referred to. And this album, as empty as it does feel, it still also has a connectivity to it because it sparks that emotion in the listener, and Uncomfortably Numb in particular totally stirred something up in my emo heart. There's a heavy emphasis on groove, atmosphere, and vibe on LP3, and obviously plenty of the credit goes to the band alongside producer Jason Cupp, once again teaming up for the production work on this record. I feel that it's a rewarding experience for the listener and for the music fan to pick apart because there's a lot of richness in the layering that's done here, even more so than they've done in the past. You can hear horns, synthesizers, in addition to differing guitar tones that do offer something unique for American Football, something that they haven't offered the listener previously. And on some of my favorite tracks here, that becomes very apparent. I would say Uncomfortably Numb has a lot of those elements in addition to I Can't Feel You, Life Support, an incredible closing moment. Also Doom in Full Bloom, which is a longer song at over 7 minutes, but my god is it rewarding. It's a slow burn that's very lucrative, luring you in with that opening instrumental for about 1.5 minutes, and then they finally get to the lyrics where you're hearing kerosene burning bright, these very vivid but also kind of terrifying descriptions, and it's talking about how things are coming out in life and you're feeling it later in life. You thought things would get better, but now you're yearning for your adolescence, not even realizing sometimes that you were sad then as well. And then finally, once you get to the last part of Doom in Full Bloom, those guitars just really come to life. You see them sliding up and down the scales. I would just say that it's almost fun to listen to despite it being so sad. American Football delivered a searing emo burn on LP3, and I'm glad to say that I feel it's a step up from LP2, and I'm also happy that they're working a lot faster. We had to wait 17 years for the second one and only 3 for the third. I picked this up on vinyl. I highly encourage you guys to go check it out in some form as well. This is getting a very strong 4 out of 5 from me personally. Panorama is the 4th album by the post-hardcore and spoken word band La Dispute. I've been anticipating this one for years now. Rooms at the House was the album that really got me a lot more into them and got me more focused on their music and what they do. I would say that it's up between that and their debut as far as what was duking it out for the best of the best when it came to La Dispute, but this new album is definitely a very, very good entry into their discography that sees them venturing back into some heavier territory, exploring and expanding once again, but also I just feel that it's a nice culmination of everything that they've done up to this point in their career. Now, Jordan Dreyer can be a bit of an acquired taste when it comes to his vocals, the way that he presents himself. Yes, sometimes he's kind of screaming, but also sometimes it's more spoken word, very laid back, and on tracks like on this album in Northern Michigan, you're going to hear the slower side, but also like Fulton Street 1 and 2, you're going to hear more of the intensity, and I love those moments. If you think to moments in their discography like King Park, you know how good of a storyteller Jordan is. And I feel he's the type of person that observes and looks within other people's lives, and also this album in general was just inspired by a drive that him and his partner went on, and everything like that just comes out into the record in a very, very poignant way. The striking descriptions, the childhood fears that are brought up once again, footsteps at the pond, there you are, hiding place. There's so many things that are commented on, but I also really feel the music and the poetry within this release. I would dare say that I'm enjoying this more than Rooms of the House, although they're two very different listening experiences. I just love how big of a payoff we get. We open on the very slow Rose Quartz. And this album in general has a lot to do with minerals and crystals and the healing power. Jordan looked into this a lot and researched and talked about it because there's obviously a lot of grief that's being dealt with and a lot of comfort that he's trying to offer. But we start slow with Rose Quartz, move into Fulton Street 1 and 2, and that right there, that back-to-back combo, those are some of my favorite tracks, choice cuts so far for 2019. I feel that they really stand out in a great way in their discography. And on Fulton Street 2 in particular, after we get all of that description, all of that tension that built up in part 1, the release is there. Those are the heaviest guitars I've heard from them since Wildlife, and I love the way they thrash about and just how good it feels to get into the mood of the music. Anxiety Panorama is absolutely fantastic. This is a song that to me has a very different structure when it comes to the verses versus the chorus. I feel that the verses are much more dark, and then they almost kind of let off the gas pedal and cruise a little bit as things get a little softer and more melodic in the chorus, and I do like that. La Dispute do not rely heavily on hooks. I think we all know that, but when they do have them, it's nice to see it roll in a different way. As with any La Dispute album, there's definitely moments where you could find yourself distracted, or maybe that the music or the lyrics aren't as engaging, or maybe it's all just coming at you all too fast and you can't even process what Jordan is saying to you. I understand those frustrations, and in fact, I do feel it once again in some places on this record. Fortunately though, that is not a common occurring problem. I feel that this is a hyper-engaging record a lot of the time. I feel that the words spoken are very significant, very important, very good observations once again from Jordan, and the way that he's able to relay grief and try to offer some sort of solution, or the fact that maybe there is no solution. I love all the questioning and just how inquisitive the closing moment You Ascendant is. But then there's other songs that goes on a big winning streak, I would say, after In Northern Michigan, starting with Views from Our Bedroom Window, possibly my favorite song on this LP. ARTV. It's something that, guitar-wise, it's so lucrative. It really just keeps you kind of hypnotized and in the zone because it's very different for La Dispute, but it also is offering us a slice of something that I'd like to see more of in the future. From the 2 Fulton Street tracks to View from Our Bedroom Window, Footsteps at the Pond, You Ascendant, this record really does not miss very many beats at all. It's definitely something that I myself have had to be in the mood for. I'm fortunate to have had this a few weeks before it actually dropped so I could spend some time with it, but I ended up saying, you know what, this is definitely worth buying. I picked up a vinyl copy and I'm giving this a 4 out of 5. It's just the weekend of 4 out of 5s, apparently. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this double feature review. Let me know your thoughts on American football's LP3, or of course La Dispute's new album, Panorama, in the comment section down below. Drop a like on this and subscribe for the love of music. Patreon donations keep both of my channels going. If you're able to help support, then please hit the top link down below or else the annotation in the corner of your screen here. If you want to see another indie review, then tap right here or tap here for another recent video on the channel. All of my social media accounts can be found in the description, and I'll see you soon for more right here on ARTV.